Hey guys, Joel and Christy here for Saving Money for the Long Run. And what are we doing today?
We're going to talk about frugal living tips.
Let's do it.
All right, what's interesting about these frugal living tips is they're not specifically ours.
Yeah.
They're just frugal living tips that I observed recently.
Yep.
If you're not familiar with our channel, over the last 2 months, I spent about 5 weeks at our son and daughter-in-law's house. I was babysitting our little granddaughter, our little Minnie. And so while I was there, I did not go grocery shopping. I did not make meal plans. They did all of that. And I just observed.
Yeah.
And what I saw was that they do things that are frugal, but they do them, some of them, in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
They have different methods for saving money.
Sure.
And, also maybe they have different situation that causes them to do things a little different than us. Some are saying they're the same thing that we would have done, but in a different way.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into them. We got about 10.
Sure.
I have a bonus, so it's really 11. Different ways that they save money on groceries that are, slightly different than the way that we do. So let's get into them.
Let's do it.
You want to do the first one?
Sure. Number one, they eat leftovers, but they heat them up in an air fryer.
Yeah. That's the beauty of an air fryer. Even if they had French fries or anything like that, you're able to put them in an air fryer, so you're able to, get them to taste good because you did them in an air fryer. We do not have an air fryer, so it's not something that we do. So sometimes there's things that we know that's not ever going to taste the way it did again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so, not that they ate out, I think we may have eaten out 3 times in 5 weeks. So I'm not saying they ate out a lot, but say they had French fries from a restaurant, they did bring them home, whatever was left, and reheat them in the air fryer. So
Okay.
we would have just said the French fries are not going to work.
Yeah, or they wouldn't have made it, we wouldn't have left them over. I probably would have eaten them all.
Okay, anyway, our second one is they use a whole chicken to provide meals, usually 2 to 3 meals. We do that as well. We always have. We've shown them as spatchcock chickens,
Mm-hmm.
where you put them in the oven and you cut out the backbone and lay it flat, and it takes almost 2 hours to make.
Yep.
For us. But they have an Instapot. They put it in an Instapot. They're done in a pretty short period of time. They go ahead and shred all the chicken off of it, and they use it in meals for 2-3 days at least. And the thing is that with that, you don't have as crisp a skin. So if that matters to you, that the skin is crispy, it's harder to get that with an Instapot.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also do that with a crock pot. It's going to take maybe 4 or 5 hours to do that in a crock pot, but a crock pot doesn't use as much energy and it doesn't heat up your house as much, which is really important in the summertime.
Yep.
So having an Instapot do that in a short period of time, or a crock pot, is going to keep your house from getting hot when it's a hot part of the year. So yesterday we made a whole chicken and we chose to put it in the crock pot instead.
Yep.
And it was nice because we didn't have the house heating up for 2 hours.
That's right. You just kind of set it and forget it. And
Yeah.
when you're done, it's done. And
Yeah.
And I think I remarked to Christy last night after we put away the leftovers that we take the chicken off the bone, obviously, and we crumble it up or whatever into a container, but it crumbles a lot better. It shreds a lot better from the crock pot than it would have from the oven. So
Right. Right.
that was pretty good.
Yeah. So that may be something that we continue doing even past
Yeah.
the summer, but
Sure.
for sure it is going to reduce those the heat in your house if you use it, especially during the summertime.
That's right. Number 3 is they made homemade chicken broth. Now I'm doing these second hands. I'm doing these as I'm doing these. I'm doing what I heard her say.
Yeah, but you also used it. He came a couple of days toward the end. He made some shrimp and grits for them, and you do use chicken broth. So
this was the chicken broth they had made with using their Instapot, right?
Yeah,
their Instapot. Now we do chicken broth as well, but we do it in a slow cooker.
Again, because we don't have an Instapot.
Right, and it takes a couple days to do. They can do it obviously pretty instantly because it's an Instapot.
Yeah.
Instant pot.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take as long to do the chicken broth.
Yes. And what they do that we don't do is when we do chicken broth, we put it in mason jars and put it in the freezer. And so when we need chicken broth, then we have to take a whole mason jar out of the freezer, thaw it out. And so you have to wait until it's completely thawed out. Yeah. The way that they do it is they pour it into muffin pans, put it in the freezer, and then take them out of the muffin pan and just put them in a Ziploc bag inside the freezer. Then they're able just to take those little molds, like what was the shape of the muffin pan, put it into a pot and heat it for a few minutes until it's back into a liquid form. So they don't have to think out how far in advance to thaw out the chicken because they're able to just cook, heat it really fast.
That's right.
So I like that idea. That may be something that we start trying because that way I don't have to think ahead so far. Yeah. Because if I forget, then we're like, we don't have any chicken broth thawed out. So, which is why we always keep like a couple of cartons of chicken broth in the pantry in case we forget. But we wouldn't have to do that if we did it that way. So that's something that we may institute is making them in muffin pans.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Fourth one is no meat meals. If you know, as you know, Joel's kind of like you're going to have to put some chicken or something in that.
Yeah, I got some meat on that most of the time.
Yeah, but they do have meals where they might not have any meat at all in it. Say they made a pizza, they might have one that just has pesto and spinach and cheese on it instead of thinking that they always have to have like pepperoni or beef or something on it. Like they would just not everything has to have meat on it for them. Right. So yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does save money if you can do some meatless meals or, just stretch out your meals by doing that.
Yeah, that leads us to point number 5, adding other ingredients to stretch out ground beef. They did that a lot. Yeah. I'm not sure what ingredients they added, but you can kind of fill me in on that.
Yeah, for instance, when we had tacos, they had ground beef, but they also had some chickpeas that they put in the skillet as well, and toss that in the taco seasoning. And so they had both ground beef taco but also chickpea tacos, and so they didn't eat as much ground beef in that meal because they also had the chickpeas. Yeah, that's just an example of what I saw as far as that goes. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. 6 is sourdough. They use sourdough a lot. And our daughter-in-law got into that probably maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. Hopefully one day I will get into it because...
Yeah, she's gotten really good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stuff she makes with the sourdough is...
She makes sourdough bread, like the traditional one that's in a Dutch oven, but she also makes one in a loaf pan that is more like a sandwich bread. And so they never buy bread in the store. Yep. They always have either their sourdough or their sourdough sandwich loaf. And they use that for any sandwiches they might want or bread on the side of a meal, something like that. They never buy bread for that reason. Yeah.
That's right. And then that kind of leads into number 7, bagels and English muffins. She makes sourdough bagels and sourdough English muffins. And then they cook eggs, bacon, put them on the sourdough muffins and sourdough bagels, put some cheese on there, and then they put it back in the freezer and freeze it, and you have breakfast sandwiches that you can just pop out of the freezer into the microwave, and you're eating in, about a minute. So
Yeah.
I had one of those while I was up there, and it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, those are made with sourdough.
Yeah.
And so she's not going and buying bagels or English muffins in the store, which are usually more expensive. And I don't think they taste exactly the same as what sourdough versions are like that she made. So the taste is better, and she's not spending money on it, which is good. The next one that comes to is still in that line of sourdough, and that is she uses sourdough discard to make baked goods, anything from like little muffins, which our little Minnie really loves when she takes fruit and puts that in some muffins and bakes those. She loves that. It was funny because she preferred that over chocolate chip muffins.
Yeah.
She really likes that. But she also will use the discard to make cookies and things like that. So she does not buy baked goods from the store. She just makes it all with sourdough discard, which is really good.
That's right. Number 9 is they rarely buy baby food. Now, our little Minnie is, she's about 15 months old now. And they rarely buy baby food because it's things that they use at home is what they use to feed her with. So.
The only exception to that is they will keep a couple of those little pouches that have like fruit, and they're like organic fruit pouches that have vegetables and fruit. They'll keep a couple of those just in case they're out and about and she gets hungry. But even when she started eating right away, they were giving her stuff like yogurt and now she eats yogurt with peanut butter mixed in it because she doesn't seem to have an allergy there. There's there's all kinds of things that she now eats, like rice and potatoes. Her favorite things are fruit and vegetables, which is amazing.
Yeah.
She loves strawberries and oranges and what's the word? Spinach.
Yeah.
She loves spinach.
Only cooked spinach, though.
Only cooked spinach. If you
it's
give her
raw
raw,
spinach,
she's not
going to eat it.
She's not cool with that. I don't
figure.
know. She loves basil. She was fine with kale. I mean, she loves vegetables and fruit. And I really think that might be because she hasn't had baby food, because I don't think that baby food is like as good, maybe as good tasting as having something that's like fresh and and I don't have it on here on the list, but they do have a little bit of a raised garden bed, and they are growing broccoli and kale. They also are excuse me. What else do they have?
They have broccoli, kale. They grow a lot of spices out there.
They have basil, zucchini.
Yeah.
They're growing little grape tomatoes, which also is one of her favorites. She loves it. So again, I think that eating them fresh, and stuff has made her enjoy what she's eating more than sometimes with baby food. And baby food, as far as I remember, I assume it's still that way, is kind of expensive for like little jars.
Little jars.
Yeah. So I think they're saving money by using baby food. Yeah. By not buying baby food.
That's right.
Yes. All right. And our 10th one, they look for those yellow stickers. I think that they typically shop in the middle of the week because their schedule is a little more free. Like, we struggle with being able to shop on a Wednesday or Thursday or something like that because Joel might have to be at work. But his schedule doesn't work that way. So he can go like on a Wednesday or something, and that's like a really good day. Generally, grocery stores do markdowns, and so like they had a huge bag of rice with a yellow sticker on it, and that they had saved. They'll be eating on that rice for a while, and he was also picking up meats that had yellow stickers on them as well. So that's something that it's not that we wouldn't, it's that we don't always have that opportunity. We do look for yellow stickers, but we don't find them that often.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's all 10 of our frugal living tips you picked up while you were gone for 5 weeks. But wait, there's more.
There's a bonus.
There's a bonus one.
Yeah, they one thing that they do is they measure especially the protein of the meal on a scale.
Yep.
For instance, while we were there, we were making French dip sandwiches, and he would go and purchase a chuck roast for it because he couldn't ever find a brisket. But he would purchase a chuck roast for it, and it was usually like 4 or 5 pounds, but the recipe only calls for 3 pounds. So he literally scaled it out, cut the 1.5 pounds off, and then he used that later in the week to make tacos.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a good way to stretch it, is to actually weigh your proteins. Something that maybe we don't do that often. We might be a little guilty of just, like, oh, that's all the chicken, so let's put it all in that. Yeah. So, so that is a thing that will save you a lot, especially if it's something that's large, like a whole chicken or a chuck roast or something like that. Is go ahead and cut those down to what size you really need, like 1 pound or 2 pounds or something like that, instead of feeling like you have to use the whole thing in one
That's right.
recipe. So,
That's right. Mm-hmm. All right, so now it's your turn. Let us know what are some of your favorite frugal living tips in the comments below. We'd love to hear those.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to do it today for Saving Money for the Long Run with Joel and Christy. Don't forget it's the long run. Give yourself a little grace.
Bye.